Yo guys, I've got a spark which I'm going to use to ignite the fire for a brand new episode of Skylanders Swap Force Lightcore Brightness Locke here on the channel. Now you'll notice that my commentary structure is far different than that of the norm with this series, and that's purely because whilst I still have the gameplay footage available to me, I no longer have the commentary because I forgot to back it up, and in other words I accidentally deleted it, so it's gone, kapoof. But I didn't realise that until after I had finished recording the entire series, so it's not so easy to go back and just re-record an entire episode, especially since the gameplay that takes place in this episode has a key integral event occurring in it that, you know, basically shifts the direction for the rest of the series. So naturally I need that gameplay occurrence to take place for the rest of the series to make sense. So naturally prepare for Rampart Ruins with a huge major key event happening, in fact more than one. So I'm definitely going to enjoy post-commentating this. I'm going to say I currently have the gameplay footage up on my laptop muted so it doesn't echo in the background of this video. So I'm just going to be watching that along as I post-commentate with all of you, because we got to get to the Stone Monkey. After all, nobody ever expects the Stone Monkey. But now we slowly but surely approach what is one of the greatest NPCs of this game. No, wait, I take it back. That doesn't nearly start to, you know, put justice as to how glorious this NPC Willowbark is right here. Willowbark, without a show of that nor a hint of sarcasm, greatest NPC ever. I mean, he's a tree person with a British accent. I've just described him to perfection. You can see him on screen. You know, he's putting his fist down, he's gesturing, time to put a stop to all this evilness, and, you know, evil should definitely be intimidated, because that is one determined tree man right there. The last thing you want to do is cross a tree. They are firm and sturdy roots. Anyway, the air element has popped up, which means it's time for us to swap out for, of course, the Swap Force representative Tornado, and the background gets brightened up that little bit extra. But yeah, I'm actually recording this post-commentary on the same morning that this episode it's supposed to be going live, so I definitely cut it close for this, but I have edited the Iron Jaw Gulch episode, so that will be going out next Monday. That's cool to see. And then on top of that, I can actually give you guys live statistics on my current Lightcore lot, with most episodes being over 200 views. The Mudwater Hollow episode did do as well as the previous episodes did, but that's because, you know, after a while, the first for middle portions of the series even never do as well as the beginning nor the end. You know, most people tune in for the beginning, get the kind of like gist of the Locke, and then, you know, slowly but surely quit out and then wait for the finale again so you can see how it's all concluded, which that's absolutely up to you. It's your time, spend it however you please. It's finite, it's valuable, so any time spent with me is really appreciated on my behalf. But regardless, today we're tackling Rampart Ruins. Yeah, kind of not even mentioned that already, but it's kind of fucking obvious with the visuals what you say. Regardless, it's time to pop on SMITHBOOM. He's not going to be SMITHBOOM for much longer though, because I have a far more powerful entity in mind that must be, you know, adjusted right after we complete this, you know, spark block, of course. You know, we got to get our priorities straight, am I right? And by priority straight, I mean going into the stats right here, because there's only one way you can make SMITHBOOM even more powerful than he is already. First of all, you've got to take ownership. And by taking ownership, I've granted myself a nickname that will transcend SMITHBOOM's power scales times infinity, because we're not talking about no regular SMITHBOOM. We are talking about the one, the only SMITHBOOM, baby. But now we have SMITHBOOM to one side over here. We can finally complete slide and shuffle right here. But yeah, in terms of the statistics now, when I first recorded this series a few weeks ago, literally I was at, you know, around 700 subscribers. Since then, as of recording this video, I'm at 928. Wow, thank you guys so much for that. The channel has just been taken off recently. I can upload one of my more experimental Skylanders videos, such as the level analysis video and the Skylanders huge SkyTuber shoutout video, and be guaranteed over 700 views. That's just so insane to me that you guys have that dedication to my content, and this support is just, it's truly humbling. Like, I put out that SkyTuber shoutout video to hopefully touch some people's hearts and raise awareness about the excellent SkyTubers that put phenomenal content out day in, day out, you know, without hesitation. They would never stop with this dedication spree, you know. They have shown true motivation in the face of not getting the attention they deserve, you know, despite the lack of views and subscribers. They pump out this content anyway because they're passionate about it. That's something to be respected and admired, and I'm glad that I was able to bring to people's attention as many SkyTubers as I did, and in the process of trying to touch your guys' hearts and be selfless. In other words, you guys, you know, you came through in a big way. Support to that video was unparalleled. It's easily my most successful video today, just in terms of the comments I've been getting, because honestly, you guys really touched my heart with your response to that video, and it's just truly overwhelming. So, all thank yous aside, we have SMITHBOOM absolutely creaming these enemies right now. I could go for some cream. I ain't had any breakfast yet. But yeah, how do you guys like to shift up in the angle now that I no longer need to look at my TV, which is over there? Because yeah, say I'm watching back the gameplay on my laptop, and I must admit, I'm pressing the be good, really good button, alright. Actually, no, I'm not pressing a single button. SMITHBOOM is just doing it by himself. You know, he's just so overpowered and incredibly broken that he doesn't need my input to absolutely annihilate his enemies. Or better yet, cream them. I prefer creaming enemies over annihilating them. That's just far more satisfactory. Anyway, there goes another one of the Evil Eye Shugbats, which is a very selfless thing to do, but like that SkyTuber shout-out video really, which you should absolutely go check out. But yeah, we are defeating the Evil Eye's crystals that, you know, have petrified these guys, and naturally that frees them from their enslavement, because Chaos has literally taken possession of them using this petrified darkness he's found. It's kind of like Super Mario Odyssey, but without the cap. Therefore, you know, how can you say that Mario capturing enemies is an ethical thing to do when what Chaos is doing here is considered evil? Hashtag Mario is totally evil, even though you could say the possession is only 9/10 of the law, but I should shut up whilst I'm ahead, because if the supercharger is not locked towards anything, it's that I should never make a reference to Super Mario Brothers. Anyway, we've now got some blocks to push into place. There is a water elemental gate later on in this level, which I'm not going to tackle, don't you worry, because it is the creepiest thing in this game. It's all about a block who needs his back being scratched against a wall. It was like, well, okay then. Oh wait, you kind of saw a glimpse of a little stone monkey totem over a little archway right there. Definitely going to be collecting that a bit, but for now, let's watch out for the spikes, not take a, you know, spike to the face, because I don't think that would be enjoyable much for SMITHBOOM. But yeah, what's funny is that I'm watching this after I got through the finale of How I Met Your Mother, which is kind of bizarre because I hadn't finished How I Met Your Mother when I initially recorded all of this gameplay in this series. But now, because I'm post-commentating this, and this is technically the last thing I'm ever going to record for this series, this post-commentary for this here episode, naturally, because that's come much later, I have managed to finish How I Met Your Mother, and boy, that was quite the finale. It's gone down in history as one of the worst TV finales of all time, and I personally feel as though people who don't like the finale either don't understand it, or if they just really wanted things to go one way, and because they didn't, because the show went for that shock value, they were disappointed by it, which is fair enough, you know, because the difference here is that there's a major difference between, oh boy, I've just realised that SMITHBOOM is really low. I'm a bit too busy post-commentating to worry about the gameplay right now, I suppose. Regardless of all that, you know, SMITHBOOM is obviously going to clutch us out. Him being called SMITHBOOM alone makes him invincible. Kind of weird not to have control of my hands right now. That's just how post-commentary, I suppose. But going back to How I Met Your Mother, after I watched the finale, at first I was a little disappointed, but I watched a few analysis videos and I got to learn the true meaning of the show, and by extent the finale, and I realised just how well the finale wrapped up all of the loose threads, and the foreshadowing too. If you were able to pay attention to the foreshadowing, then you could have seen what was coming up. And I actually went back, and speaking of going back, I get to go back to Smolderash right now. Let's go! Best character in the Locke right here. But, you know, going back to other great things, such as How I Met Your Mother, I'm doing a great job of, you know, going off on tangents, but as I digress, everyone's favourite phrase that I haven't seen to use every single video. You know, the show was definitely foreshadowing something, and going back and watching all of those foreshadowing scenes for it, you know, because I knew how the show ended, it just had so much more of an emotional beat to it. Like, seriously, scenes that I never thought could have been emotional turned out that when I rewatched them, I was having so much more emotion the first time around, just because of that sheer dread and the emotion packed behind it. It just had such great foreshadowing, and it just did a great job of leaving so many threads and clues throughout its first 8 seasons that just all culminated in a very satisfying 9th season that was definitely a bit of a mess structurally, but as were the seasons before it, because Ted is an unreliable narrator and he's the one narrating the story. You know, it's a bit like Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, about how Harley Quinn is being an unreliable narrator in telling the story, so it's non-linear and a bit messy. You know, it's all characterised to Ted to make it unique and within his style. So, yes, it's a stylized show. Yes, it's an incredibly funny show, especially the first 6 seasons. It had me laughing so many times. Although the 7th and 8th season are definitely the weakest ones, they just have the least amount of laughs for me. But even then, they are a part to the key integral story, so I can't fault the plot lines in play. And yes, season 9 was a bit of a mess structurally, and very inconsistent too. Like, How I Met Your Mother just has such a huge mashup of great episodes, juxtaposed by terrible episodes. It's one of the least most consistent shows I've ever seen, unfortunately. But hey, I'm willing to get through the bad episodes if it means I can get through such highs which the show possesses emotionally, because it's such an emotionally rich sitcom, which tackles just such real problems, and that's what causes real emotion to be drawn from it. And that's just what makes it so different to every other sitcom I've ever seen in my entire life, because most sitcoms have a really light-hearted tone, but this one had a finer balance between its comedy and its more, you know, emotional, real-life themes that it tackled. I definitely have a review coming out for this soon, because I just had such a huge connection to the show, because I fell in love with these characters. Very empathetic, very enjoyable characters, and you know, the show just had such a strong message to it as well. Not a necessarily light-hearted one, because it does tackle with the hardships in life. You know, it looks at just how shitty life can be sometimes. Unfortunately, you know, you got to get through the shit, and in the case of the gameplay right now, my shit is being crappy at timing. And still, sometimes you gotta get through all that in order to get to. The truth is, in order to get to the great things in life, you know, you can't have the great things in life without the sad and the upsetting things. And not to mention, because we can get sad, we can get emotional, it's what makes all of those grand, happy, glorious moments all the more impactful. Because, you know, indirect juxtaposition, we can just learn to appreciate those moments more, because we know that we're not always going to be experiencing those, and that, you know, sad times might be around the corner, but as are happy ones, which, you know, are going to be so much more overwhelming and so much more greater than that of the sad moments, that is worth living through the sad moments to get to the happier moments. Man, this is getting real cheesy very, very quickly, isn't it? But hey, I like cheese, so no problems here. And now we have your boy, Evil Glumshanks. I am terrified mostly because it's Glumshanks, but evilized. How can you get more terrifying than that? Your boy, stupid powerful Glumshanks, becoming even more stupid powerful. That's like taking Superman and giving him even more power. Like, how do you give even more power to Superman? That's like, you know, removing his weakness to kryptonite. Just imagine that. Superman, no kryptonite. Bing bang boom, you have evilized Glumshanks. How are we supposed to deal with that? Yeah, we're definitely going to lose every single Skylander, all 16 of them, to Evil Glumshanks, because he's just too powerful for mere Skylanders to tackle. But yeah, that was my main thing I wanted to talk about this episode of the core version lock. I finished that ages ago. No, the Swap Force Lightcore Brightness Lock. Quite a mouthful of a series, that one, but my main topic to discuss was How I Met Your Mother, just because that finale is going to linger on for a while. You know, it shifts up for sitcom from, you know, rom-com type style to a more romantic tragedy until, you know, it ends off once again with a very controversial ending. But I think the filmmakers did everything they did purposefully. Like, they had that ending in mind for years. I think they actually wrote the ending at the end of season 2. And so naturally, they had to stick to that finale, so they kind of wrote themselves into a corner. But naturally, the risk they took is what makes me respect the show so much. It doesn't take things easy. It takes those risks, and some of them pay off, some of them don't. But that's just because in a TV show, you can't please everyone. That's the simple idea of life, that you can't please everyone. So the best thing you can do is just try to make something of your vision, of your passion, and that's why I respect the small Skylanders so much. I mentioned them previously, and they are all executing their own vision. They could care less about whether everybody in the Skylanders community watches their video on renaming Swap Force characters, for example, from your boy Owen Mason. Shout out to that guy. But yeah. We're all making our own unique content. That's all executions of our own unique visions that we feel is important in putting out there, regardless of whether other people will enjoy it or not. Because if you're making content that you yourself would watch, then that justifies uploading it in and of itself. And also be unique. That's the key. We have a new SkyTuber that has arisen, known as Mighty Mothra, who makes really unique videos, and she's been doing really well recently because of it. It's been fantastic watching her grow with her, she just uploaded another video before I record this post-commentary, swapping around elements of Skylanders, so she'd turn stealth welcome to a fire Skylander, for example, which was awesome, unique to her, hence executing her vision, and without a care of whether other people liked it or not. I mean, of course, there's always that care for people wanting to be liked. We're human beings, we crave social interaction, we want to be liked. But at the end of the day, there's 7.5 billion human beings on this planet, but chances are a few people are going to like you. And it's better to have a few than many, because if you have a few friends rather than many, then you can be given that extra time dedicated to each one of them, to truly know each one of them on a more personal scale, and because of that you will forge more precious memories with those friends most closest to you. Those are the friends that count, those are the friends that are beyond friends, those are the friends that are family. And again, that's one of the main themes of How I Met Your Mother, so it kind of, once again, harkens back to that. It's a full circle, in other words. Anyway, it's time to mistime these here clocks once again. Hey, foreshadowing, plenty of foreshadowing in How I Met Your Mother. Now we've got foreshadowing of clocks because, hey, there's a level, an adventure pack level in this game with clocks in it. It's How Time. Kind of hard to miss that. I mean, time is in the name and everything, and that's going to be a level that we're going to tackle as a little bonus before we beat the final Chaos boss fight. Because, spoiler alert, this lock is going to get really intense towards the tail end. Like, personally, I think I did quite well with this lock. I'm not going to spoil the ending exactly, except for the fact that I do win this lock. But you have lots of really exciting stuff coming up, and man, Goompu's got to be careful here. It's just so easy to get hit by these guys on Nightmare mode, and the problem with Nightmare mode is that enemies deal specific damage based around your health bar, so certain enemies will always, no matter your health bar, deal half damage, so you can only take 2 hits from them. And naturally, Grim Creeper a lot of the time is an absolute sitting duck. He has ridiculous cooldown on his abilities, and his hitbox is just the worst. Speaking of the worst, thank you for nothing, you useless motorbike. Yeah, you guys definitely heard that. Yeah, we get a lot of those, just motorbikes really ripping it up, and at 2 AM we love getting trains combined. It's not fun, which is why tomorrow I actually move back to my house in Loughborough for 2.5 weeks. It's going to be fun being there because I'm going to actually have sufficient Wi-Fi for streaming, and it's going to be a lot better for noise pollution. Anyway, not looking good right here. Oh boy, luckily we had some of those convenient watermelons. You should give me watermelons right now. Like, if I could ask for watermelon, then the game would very conveniently have gave it to me, because asking shall receive and everything. But yeah, finally the enemies were defeated with such minimal health, you could go as far as say. That got way too close to the cockpit. One more hit, even from, the small yet mighty chomping, would have brought Grim Creeper to an early grave. But now we have the Stone Monkey, the thing that nobody ever expects. The Stone Monkey with a hiccup thrown in there, just good measure, because on top of not expecting Stone Monkey, nobody ever expects the How to Train Your Dragon reference, because I love those movies. You know, I was talking about How to Train Your Mother. Now I'm just amalgamating How I Met Your Mother and How to Train Your Dragon together, because in truth, How I Met Your Mother was emotional, but it doesn't hold a candle to the emotion it is for How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. My God, that's such a good trilogy. So I mentioned earlier that we're getting a bunch of new subscribers, and no doubt a lot of them might not know necessarily my love for How to Train Your Dragon and how much it exceeds almost everything else. Like seriously, the only media franchise I like more than How to Train Your Dragon is Skylanders. That's how much I love the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. It is fantastic, and for an animated film, it's incredibly cinematic. The first fight sequence of the first How to Train Your Dragon movie, not only is it a great character-defining moment, as Hiccup finally learns his confidence, and Hiccup and Toothless learn to ride as one, so it's a huge character moment to them, but also it's so cinematic. The soundtrack with its bumps and its beats just really hook you in and give you goosebumps, because it's just a true grand exciting moment with cinematic moments that are exciting, character driven. And so naturally, when a scene like First Fight exists, how could you say How to Train Your Dragon is a bad movie? You know, sometimes you just need that one incredible scene to prove to you, after you watch it again and again, how good a film could be. The only reason I say that, you know, there are films that I absolutely hate that have great scenes that don't salvage them, like The Rise of Skywalker, which I like to call Rise of Garbage because that describes it perfectly. The last Star Wars movie is absolute garbage and I hate it. What I don't hate, however, is when Han Solo returns as a ghost. It's kind of like Mentor, Kylo Ren. By far the best scene in the movie. Why would I go and hit Evil Glum Shanks, you know, armoured out tank? It's invincible. It's like SMITHBOOM, you know, it's a tier below SMITHBOOM in terms of its invincibility, so why would I even attempt such a daft and foolish thing? But yeah, I'm definitely getting a bit terrified with Grim Creeper right now. I mean, at the end of the day, we have some of the worst enemies in this game, most cheapest enemies you could go as far as say, coming up in the later phase of this battle. The Archean Shotgun dudes. Boy, do I hate the Archean Shotgun dudes. I hate them so much. But yeah, one other funny thing that happened recently is that, going back to fellow SkyTubers, Crypt Crusher managed to break his control with all the button mashing he was doing with the Guitar Hero style minigame in Skylanders Trap Team. Yeah, he was smashing that controller so hard that, you know, he wound up breaking it somehow. Instant karma, I suppose, but in the end, he had no regrets. I know that because he said so. He replied to my comment on his post. But yeah, things are looking good for the Skylanders community actually. We're getting lots of new content creators, we're getting all of the bigger content creators even are really booming in popularity. You know, Crypt Crusher has been moving at a phenomenal pace, as Gamer TV, Crash, Portamac and Tumimi doing as great as they always do. And of course we have the new rising star of Mighty Mothra, or Mighty Mothra even, I can never pronounce her name correctly, but regardless, that channel has a lot of potential moving forward, and I have faith that she will do well on this platform and amongst this community. You could even go as far as saying. But yeah, do I have much else to add to this commentary? Clearly not, because I'm not saying much else now, am I? Yeah, I'm just waiting for Evil Glum Shanks to finally be defeated, because man, this guy takes so long to defeat on Nightmare mode, especially with Grim Creeper, who's garbage against boss fights. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of Hex, but even Hex I prefer to players right now. But unfortunately, due to Earth popping up between the fire and the elemental areas, I have to go from Small Ash to Prison Break, which is Giant's Earth representative, back to Grim Creeper, who is of course the Swap Force Undead representative, and representing the debut of the Undead element in the Locke actually. But yeah, look at these Archean Shotgunny dudes, you know, one was never enough, so of course the game had to give us several. Nobody asked for this, I know I didn't. Why would I ask for more Archean Shotgunny dudes? I hate them, remember, I hate them so much! Oh boy, this moment is terrifying me. Grim Creeper moving forward. Oh boy. Luckily for us, our key event that, you know, basically shapes how the rest of this lock is going to play out has already occurred. SMITHBOOM. You guys had to bear witness to the naming of SMITHBOOM. It's a ceremony. You can't proceed with the series until SMITHBOOM has been named. Otherwise, you are doing it to fail. You know, that SMITHBOOM nicknaming was the difference between defeating this lock and not defeating it. And because I nicknamed SMITHBOOM correctly, I've already spoiled that. I do win this lock in the end, and it's all because I remembered the nickname SMITHBOOM. No other reason. Has nothing to do with me him to be good for the video game button. We've already established that I'm bad at the video game. There is no such button for me, unfortunately. But yes, that's why I can say in confidence that this lock was deleted, because SMITHBOOM was named this day for his debut. You can go as far as say I believe there's only a few more characters left to debut at this point. You know, they come along the lines of characters like Flashwing and Starstrike, I believe. You know, the game, it's terrified of those characters. You know, it knows the moment that you have to bring out Starstrike or Flashwing is just going to start losing enemies left, right, centre, because those characters are no. When I said SMITHBOOM was for major event of this episode, I lied. Grim Creeper's gone, and I was too busy talking about how badass Starstrike and Flashwing are. The game got scared is what it did. It knew it had to kill off these characters early because it would stand no chance in its later levels against the might of Flashwing and Starstrike. And Smolder Dash and Bubble Blast and Drobot. And of course SMITHBOOM. You can't go wrong with SMITHBOOM, but still, Grim Creeper's dead and he's a fan favourite. What is it with me and killing off the fan favourites, honestly? At least I have the hair, I still have that charisma going for me, but, you know, Grim Creeper, maybe that's why he died. I can't see any hair on that guy, and I can't imagine him having any hair either, but if he did have hair, looks like these, he would not be dead right now. That is why your Skylanders need to have hair. It's very, very important for Skylanders to have hair. Any Skylander that has hair is automatically one of the best ones. And now that I think about it, I can't name many Skylanders that have hair. Ninjini, there you go. Even though she's far from one of the best Skylanders, but she's just one of the characters that I saw on my shelf in front of me. Noticed she had hair, and I needed the example. But yeah, why can't more Skylanders have long and glorious hair? That would just make Skylanders so much more of their franchise. Like, seriously, this franchise died off as early as it did because not enough Skylanders had glorious hair like this. If more Skylanders had glorious hair, then this franchise would have still been thriving to this day. We would have got Skylanders 10 this year. Imagine that, if we still got annual releases, we wouldn't get Skylanders. Would have been Skylanders 10 this year or Skylanders 11? I don't know, I can't math. That's the, you know, side effects of post-commentariness. It's a disease where you can no longer math, apparently. Anyway, we have two more Arcane Shotgunny dudes left, but as soon as that evil Shanks goes into the spikes, he's done for. Unfortunately though, I was literally pixels of the spikes right now. It's like, jeez, game, when did you turn into Mario Maker all of a sudden with your hitboxes? We are talking about mere pixels right now. You know, I think maybe I could have fit my toenail in between Shanks' Evil Machine and those spikes right there, but who cares, because Evil Shanks has finally been defeated. An appropriate term for me to take up, considering that I did mention toenails beforehand, which isn't gross or disgusting whatsoever. And man, I am hungry. I can't wait to go for some of that cream. Anyway, I need to hurry up and get this edited and exported, otherwise I'm not going to have the opportunity to upload this on time. Not to mention, after this I have my Lighthouse review coming up. Whilst this exports, I'm going to watch it a second time, write the script, then record the video, edit it up, and hopefully have it up by either early Tuesday morning or later tonight. But either way, the Lighthouse is a review which one member of my community in particular has really been looking forward to. And I'm looking forward to reviewing it because I've seen it once already. Fantastic film. The only reason why I haven't uploaded my review of it just yet is purely because I loved it so much that I had to watch it a second time before I could even think about writing the script. But yeah, we have Doofus Rufus to listen through since he can't shut up. But luckily for me, because I have my laptop muted as I watch through this post-commentary right now. Well, post-commentate as I watch through the gameplay even. And luckily for me, it's muted, so I don't have to listen to Doofus Rufus' constant blabbering. Anyway, I'm going to cut now to the end of the episode. And just like that, we have cut to the end of the episode. I couldn't be bothered to sit through Snaggle Scales yapping. So here we are with the episode coming to an end. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will of course be seeing you in the next episode of Untitled Moment Rises. Peace.